Welcome to this episode with guest Danielle Hobson, and we're going to talk all things energetics. And I'm really excited for this because I know it's going to be an amazing talk, and I've been wanting to get her on the podcast since I started it. So before we get into the energetics talk, Danielle, do you want to introduce who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here. So my name's Danielle Hobson, and I'm an intuitive business coach and mentor. I have been in business now for coming up 11 years, which is crazy. I've had three successful businesses. This is one of the two that I still run now. And I'll tell you a little bit about the story of the first one as we go into it, because there's a lot to do with energetics there anyway. But I help female entrepreneurs or women in business to not only start their business but scale their business. But we do it by am I allowed to swear?
Yes, go for it.
Yes. Okay, that's good. By fucking off the rule book. Like, we do it your way. I go into really finding out what makes you tick, what you love, what you want, and to bring you out as a businesswoman doing the things that you love and creating strategies that you love, all down to energetics. And do you know what? I deal with all four things, and it's the method that I use within my coaching business, which is the Aligned Business Code, which I've just trademarked, which is absolutely buzzing. And in that, it's a mix of mindset, energetics, strategy, and action. So combining those four things is what I use to be able to help you to do more of what you love, have more of what you want, and be more of your magical self always. So that's me.
I love that. And for me, it plays a massive part in my life now because of you. Because I am very strategic, as Danielle knows, and as most people know now. But I wasn't always that way. That came about when I really, really got in serious about my business. And then I met you and I worked and learned so much about energy. So I'd love to know where that actually started for you, where the energetics came in.
Okay, so it's always been in my life, but I just didn't know that it was called energetics. I didn't know that that's what it was. I I'm a woman, a person, even as a child, I'm a bit of a rebel, I suppose, if you want to say it like that. And I like to do what I like to do, and I don't like to do what I don't like to do. And it's as simple as that. By human design, I'm a generator, so everything's from my sacral. Everything comes from, like, whether it feels good or not. So if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And I've always been like that. And the energetics, like really understanding what energetics were, well, to be fair, that's probably only been the last maybe four-ish years, 4 or 5 years, where I've really understood, really done the research, really looked into, what it actually means to feel the things that I feel and to be the way that I am, and understanding that it was down to what I now know as being energetics. And it's basically just what you love doing, what you're passionate about doing, um, creating a feeling within you that drives you to be better, do better, have better. And it is doing it your way. It's the energetics have got to be right. You've got to raise your vibration, you've got to raise your frequency, you've got to create that feeling inside of you that just clicks with whatever it is that you're doing. And that, to me, is my definition of energetics. It's doing what you want to do, the way you want to do it, with who you want to do it with.
I love that because I think that's so I always talk about balance, and I think that is what gets you the balance, really, isn't it? It has for me anyway. It's made a massive difference.
Yeah.
Um, so if we're new to energetics, can you explain like um what it is? You kind of have touched on it, but like what it is as a whole, what that looks like for you, for us, for
Okay.
anyone listening, and how we can work on it as well.
Okay. So anybody, we all have the ability to use energetics within us. Like I said, it's already in you if you listen to your intuition, if you follow your own thought processes or feelings, your feelings mainly. If you follow your feelings, then you are already working with energetics. to get the best out of it and to optimize it the most, it's about really trying to put yourself on the highest frequency that you possibly can at that moment, or on that day, or in that situation. And that looks different for everybody at all different times. So, you know, my 100% highest frequency today depends on everything around me, depends on what I'm doing for that. And same with other people, like what might be my energetic practices, for example, might be completely different to somebody else's energetic practices. But in a nutshell, it's just doing something, anything that lights you up. Anything that lights you up. So again, that looks different for me, you, everybody else. Like, I mean, if you know, obviously you listen to this, you know Dani. Dani absolutely loves spreadsheets and numbers and all of that sort of like logistical shit. And me, she puts stuff on her stories and I see stuff and she'll tell me about stuff and she'll show me stuff and it makes me feel ill. Like that is the last thing that I want to do. But I know that you'll feel like at home in your vibe, in your energy when you're doing that sort of stuff. Me, like that is literally lowering my vibe every second that I'm in Excel or doing anything like that. So that's, you know, it's basically, if you can avoid doing things that you don't like and do more of what you like, you are really working and tuning into the energetics. So like I said, it could be different. It could be different for me than it is for you. I love dancing. Solo dance parties in my office, in the house, in the kitchen, while I'm cooking, whatever it is. Well, I say while I'm cooking, that's not one of my energetic practices because I frigging hate that. But, you know, I've got a family and I have to do it from time to time. But to make it the best and the path of least resistance and to make it as happy and as energetic as I can, I'll stick on my Alexa and I will listen to the music. If I'm having a bit of a downer of a day, then I'll go for a walk. I'll take the dog. I'm now running at the minute, which is raising my vibe massively, really good for my mental health, which is not normally the case for me. But I'll stick on Whitney Houston's Dance with Somebody. And I have to sing that. Ooh, I want to dance every time. But that's my song. And those of you that know me that are listening, that you will know that I get tagged in that stuff in that song all of the time. And in reel with that song, they're like, "Oh my God, this is what I thought of. I thought of you when I saw this." So sticking your favorite playlist on, sticking your favorite song on, going for a walk, going and doing some exercise, eating your favorite food, going and taking a long bath, journaling, meditating, doing some EFT. And these are all, you know, what you would class as a typical energetic practices like meditation, spiritual practice like meditation, EFT and journaling and stuff. But it could be anything. It literally could be picking the phone up to your best friend and having a good old like chin wag, gossip, giggle. It could be speaking to your mum. It could be, you know, going for a date night with your husband, watching Netflix, your favorite Netflix show. It could anything that raises your vibration, that makes you feel happy, excited, not just massively energetic. So it's not like you have to be buzzing off the walls. It just makes you feel inside happy, content, grateful, excited, you know, any of those amazing feelings that are at the highest point of the you know, the scale of good feelings and positivity.
Yeah, it's so powerful, isn't it? We've done a lot of work together on this, haven't we, actually? Because Danielle's actually we still work together. Danielle runs Vida Femme, I'm in there, and she does in-person days, which I attend, which are amazing. And I guess that's why I keep coming back for the energy in the room. But what I learn about it, what I learn about myself as well, and I guess a lot of that comes back to what I've learned about myself. And are we allowed to talk about the work that we've done, like mastermind and stuff?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, because obviously it was in your services. But one of the things that became apparent, and you talk about alignment a lot, don't you, in when you talk about energetics. And one thing that happened for me is my business, and I've talked about this on the podcast a lot actually, has changed drastically over the last just over a year. And it triggered on one of Danielle's mastermind calls after a series of events when we had an in-person mastermind day and you talked about letting go what no longer serves you, which you always say. And that was like services and stuff. And sometimes you can take it, you agree, but then you don't do it. And that's what I did. I didn't do it. And then it pivoted for me when I became the Queen of Business Organisation, which happened on a mastermind call with you. And as a result of Carly Murphy calling me it all of the time, And it evolved from that. And because I wasn't in alignment, and then I changed everything from that moment, and alignment became a massive, massive thing for me. And that means I've changed a lot in my business, even recently as well.
Yeah.
Always thinking back to, does this actually make me happy? Does this? And I use this with my clients now, like I say, does it make you want to get out of bed on a morning? Because if
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's got to go on it. It really has.
Absolutely. And that brings me back to what I said at the beginning about, like, I've run 3 successful businesses, and my first
Oh,
business,
yeah.
I was in the network marketing industry for 5 years, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was ignorance on fire in there. I became very successful very quickly in that business. I loved working with the women, helping them start their businesses. I spoke on stages of 5,000 people. I traveled the world. I did things in that just lit me up in all areas. I was being recognized left, right, and center. I had more money than I ever earned in anything previous to that. And there was everything to love, and I loved it until I didn't.
Yeah.
And I loved the products, I loved the people, I loved everything. I still now am a massive advocate of that company and still use the products to this day. I still have not got a bad word to say about it. I just fell out of love with it. And I can't even tell you what happened to make me fall out of love with it. I cannot tell you, like, I just woke up one day and was just like, this isn't not for me anymore. However, I did what, like you say, you did not move, not take action, didn't do anything about it, even though I knew. And I felt like for 18 months I was paddling down, upstream, cycling uphill, and it just felt like I didn't want to get out of bed and do it. I didn't want to, it wasn't lighting me up. I wasn't enjoying, which meant when you do, and this is the first bit of advice that I want to tell you guys that are listening. If you don't love it and you're not passionate about it, whatever it is, whether it's a daily activity, a DMO, as Dani calls it, whether it's a strategy, whether it's a sales strategy, a marketing strategy, whether it's working with somebody, whether it's an offer, whether it's the whole business itself, whatever it is, if it doesn't light you up and you're not doing it, you're not actually taking the action to move closer to your goals, it's not lighting you up anymore. You need to do something about it. And I'm not saying throw in a towel. I'm saying look at what you can do. What can you tweak? What can you change? What can you, peel off? What can you shed? And I say this quite often now, like, but you have to shake the apple tree. And you have to shake the apple tree every now and again in your business. Shake things up a little bit and let the dead apples fall off, the rotten apples fall off. And, even if that means that you've only got 2 apples left, but the most juiciest, biggest, shiniest apples ever that you are so, like, excited about and so loving towards, and you can't wait to, like, go and, polish the apples or do whatever. If that's all that's left, great, because then you've got somewhere to grow from, and you're more likely to take action to do it. You're more likely to polish those apples. You're more likely to go and, nurture those apples. So 18 months I was in that business longer than I should have been. And I was away on holiday with my husband. We'd gone on a little breakaway, just me and him, in September of 2019. And that's when I knew. It was like somebody had taken my rose tinted glasses off all of a sudden. Because the thing is with me as well, I'm super loyal, super, super loyal. And I was loyal to the company. I was loyal to my upline. I was loyal to my team. I was loyal to everything there. And I think that's probably why I stayed longer than I actually needed to or should have done, at the detriment to myself. Like, my income dropped. My relationship was suffering because Clint was like, are you joking? You've gone from earning this amount of money to, like, now I'm supporting us and this is not happening. And it was these conversations that I was having on holiday with him that made me go, like somebody take my glasses off, or me take my rose tinted glasses off, and be like, this is not working for me anymore. This is not serving me. It's not lighting me up anymore. Shit, I need to do something about that. And really understanding that it was that. And I'd gotten to that point where I had tried things indirectly and subconsciously, tried things to change things, again, not knowing about the energetics necessarily, or this sort of thing that I'm talking about now. It's only in hindsight that I look back and go, okay, that's what that was. And I made the decision then to walk away, to pull back away from the company. And my husband actually said to me, you've got, it's the sentence that changed my whole life, to be fair. Like, I have got him to thank for this. And he said, like, I cannot, like, can't keep doing this. The pressure on me to support us as a whole family, you know, support the whole family is just too much. I'll give you 6 months. And that weren't 6 months of like, or like, we're leaving, oh, I'm leaving you. It was like, I'll give you literally, because I was like, right, I'll do something else. I'll set up a new business, I'll retrain, I'll do whatever. Because there was no way I was going back to work. And he said, I'll give you 6 months, I'll support you for another 6 months while you explore something else. If not, you're gonna have to get a job. And that sentence, literally, that was it. It was enough, because at that point, I'd been out of work. I left my job 6 months into my first business, starting my first business. And so I've been out of work 4 years. So I'd not worked for anybody else for 4 years. And that's one of the things that lights me up, not having anybody else tell me what to do, like being that rebel. So that's what happened. And from that moment, I found coaching, mentoring, helping, which is what I loved. I say I found it. I were already doing it. I was doing it for 5 years in that business with people starting their business in my team. So then I actually was like, right, ignorance on fire again, just threw myself into retraining, qualifying as a coach. And within 6 months, I was back to earning a full-time wage.
Do you think, and I think I know the answer to this anyway, but do you think when you go and do that, something that you're truly aligned with, the results come anyway because you're on the right path?
Yes, because even if you've got a skeptical mind or a strategic mind or a logical mind, think about it like this. And this is what I say all the time, because I still have, as much as I can be airy fairy and I'm in the energetics and the spiritual world and all of that sort of stuff. I am still quite logical. I still think I'm evidence-based. So like that's how I think and I act. I need to just have the evidence. And if that means I have to go and find the evidence or create the evidence, then so be it. But if you look at it like this, if you are happy, excited, passionate about something, anything, this could be work, business, home life, holidays, whatever it is, it's a natural instinct for us to take action. To get that. You create that where there's a will, there's a way, right? So you will make it happen because you're passionate about it. You're more likely to go and do it. If you enjoy running, you are more like, as an exercise, you are more likely to run than go and do a HIIT class.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do it. You're gonna, if you love, and I say this to my clients all the time, like if you love getting on camera and going live all the time, why would you stress yourself out with writing blog posts or email? Get on camera, like get on, or vice versa. If you don't like the camera, but you are really good at writing, write your emails, write your blog posts, create words and copy and all of that. Like go and do, because you're more likely to do it. So then when it's a knock-on effect. It's then inevitable. The more action you take, the more results you're going to get.
Yeah.
And the more results you get, the more you win.
It's a bit like the path of least resistance and is it the law of averages? Like, because if you keep on doing it, well, you're going to average a result, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it does make a difference. And like, I relate to your journey so much because I've been on a similar one, really, because I left my other business behind last year. Because it wasn't lighting me up anymore. I loved the actual doing, the making. It was just so stressful, and I fell in love with this business. Like, I rocked up to you 3 and a bit years ago, and I was like, I want to start this business, but it was just going to be a side thing. I expected like to be charging people 30 quid a month for a little bit of content, but no, that changed 12 weeks later, thanks to you, and no regrets at all.
Thanks to you. That's because you followed your calling, you followed your intuition, you followed your calling, regardless of like me. I always just say I'm the bumpers. I'm the bumpers on the, the boat. Like you got to do the you listened. You obviously got a call in. You listened to that. You was like, right, okay, I want to do a bit of this, and then bit by bit, it's got bigger. You left your job because obviously you were working still at the time as well, weren't you? Like, and then now obviously you're you're more passionate about this than you were the old business, you know, the craft business. So now you're exposed, and this is like I say, you know, I'm not going anywhere. I love what I do, but actually I will only do it until I don't
Yeah.
love it anymore. That's the, you know, like who's to say? And like me and my one of my besties and one of my business partners with Vida Femme, we talk about this all the time. And like one of like my biggest fears in my life is ever falling out of love with my husband. And hers is the same as well. She's got one of the same fears, but like, and she won't mind me sharing that because she's shared it publicly before, but like having that fear, because we don't know. We don't
Yeah,
know
we
what
don't.
we're going to love in 10 years' time, in 20 years'
Yeah.
time. What if it's, I thought I was going to be in my network marketing business forever. Like I were in and I was like, yes, and I'll make it work and this will be it. This is my life. And then 5 years later, I was like, yeah, this is not lighting me up anymore. So you give it your all while you're in there. You work on your mindset, you work on your energetics, you work on your strategy, you work on while you love it. Work on taking action while you love it. You work on it while you love it. And as soon the second you don't, and this is the best thing about the business that I have now. And I think I will be some sort of trainer, coach, mentor forever because I am super passionate about that, but I can create new, fresh vibes, which is what I need all of the time to keep me passionate about what
Yeah.
all of the time within this business without having to change careers or change
Yeah.
direction. Do you know what I mean? So I can
I
be
think
here.
that's why I love it, actually.
Yeah. You can change
Yeah.
without anybody going, oh, she started a new. I don't have to start a new business. I can just create a
Yeah.
new product or do a new, you know, a new add-on service or whatever, like which is all part and parcel. I am a fully qualified coach now that can coach. I can coach anything. Like
Yeah.
a coach is once you're a coach, I can coach anything without having
Yeah.
to start a brand new business.
I had a conversation with a client today actually about something similar. Like, she was like, I'm doing this, but what if I get bored? And I
Mm.
was like, well, I get it because I do get bored. Especially when you're doing like you're marketing the same surveys, you're marketing the same thing. And I'm like, but you can change. Like, I understand we want longevity, so we do want to sell the same thing and we want to keep our clients and things like that. But I'm like, well, I just add something to it as you up, do something new. And I just think just the idea that you can do that makes such a difference than thinking, oh, well, I have to do this. Because the moment you think, well, I
Mm-hmm.
have to do this,
Mm-hmm.
we are, it's like training through a treacle and your energy's
Awful.
not right at all.
Yeah.
And I hate feeling so if I feel like that now, and it's total opposite to the way I used to be. Like if I used to feel like that, I'd push and force myself, which means I'd be very, very unproductive. And
Yeah.
it's actually one of the things I say about like being organized. And part of that has to be your energy as well, actually. Because if I do that and push and push and push, I will not be productive. Whereas if I feel, yeah, I want to do that thing, then I'll smash everything out of the park in a day or whatever. But I used to not take a break. I used to not stop. And now I don't nap as much now because it doesn't help with insomnia. But I used to go for nana naps in the day, or now it'll be more like I'm sending it to you, I swear, like Netflix on and go and watch it a bit. Or I love my reading, so a book that's not a business book and take me away for a bit and escape into this magical
Yeah.
land of someone else's story.
Yeah.
Um, and it makes such the biggest difference. It really does.
And that's it. It is about, you know, doing, if you're following your energetics or you're following your intuition and you're doing the things like you so there's like, you know, there's different opinions on the internet of like what balance is or what
Yeah,
working too much or hustling or working too little is. And actually like everybody's different, so everybody's hustle is different. Everybody's hustle is
individual.
the definition of you doing something really really hard that, you know, that pushes you constantly. But like what might push me might not push you, or vice versa.
Mm,
So everybody's definition of balance is very different. Everybody's definition of what is too much for one
yeah,
person is very different. What might be too much for me? Like the thought of me working, doing anything with my brain past 3, 4 o'clock in an afternoon
same.
to be honest,
Yeah.
is like beyond, unless I am like I'm into something super new, super exciting, and I'm creating, and then you can see me working till I don't know 7, 8, I might get to, or I've been known for like maybe 9 or 10, but like one of my besties, she'll be up creating sales
Oh
pages
yeah.
1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and that is like she's at her best there. But like if I turn around to her, because she's also my client as well, if I turn around to her and said, that's
Can't do
wrong.
that.
You shouldn't be
Yeah.
doing that because that's middle of the night. Nobody works in the middle of the night, because I couldn't imagine working in the middle of the night. That is then forcing her to do something. And if she listened, that's then forcing her to do work in the day when maybe it's the kids are at her ankles, or she's, she can't think straight because she's got X, Y, and Z to do, or what, she can't concentrate, whatever. If she works better on a night time, she's going to be more productive. She's going to be
Yeah.
more passionate about getting to work because that's where she can work, and vice versa. Like anybody saying to me, right, I can only do a call at 8 o'clock at night, I'd be like, sorry, you're not my client, because I
I've
can.
actually said that to someone and
Yeah.
I felt awful, but then I was like, no, I shouldn't feel this way because, and you know what? The response that I got was beautiful. She was like, I completely understand. It's the way it is. And they were so grateful that I was honest, actually, which is a massive value of mine.
It's
But
that energetic match. Like again, down to
yes,
energetics,
yeah,
you've got to have that energetic match with the offers that you create, the people that you work with, the staff that you hire, the team that you hire,
yeah.
the clients that come and work in your space, the people that you hire. You've got to have that energetic match, and it's got to be,
Yeah.
there's nothing right or wrong
Because I
about
think
it.
sometimes people say, well, you're turning work away, that's not genuinely helping people. But in my eyes, and this is one key thing I have learned from you, we can't help other people if we're not helping ourselves. Oxygen mask is what you always say. Put your oxygen mask on first. So for me, I used to do client calls 8 o'clock, but actually because of my family dynamic, well, it's a bit different now because I've got the office, but my family dynamic didn't allow for that. I would get interrupted. It made me anxious that they were outside the
Mhm.
bedroom door or whenever I was working. And then
Mhm.
as well, to me, it's not turning it away. It's working with people that are going to get the best of me. And what was the other thing you said that was really key as well? Um, oh, it's gone. It'll come. It'll come.
It's
But yeah, it does make a difference. It really does.
Absolutely. Can you imagine taking a client on for, like, for me now, I can't, and don't get me wrong, like I'm also a big believer in saying yes to everything at the beginning of your business, because like who knows what you like and what you don't like. And it's soon become apparent. So I did used to do calls in an evening when I first started,
Yeah,
absolutely. But now if I think of, but obviously the reason I don't do them now is because I did them and I realized I don't
yeah,
like them. So what happened was like and as much as the client was amazing and that it's great and they were all right, I'd get to something like, I don't know, maybe 5 o'clock that evening, or after the school run that evening, I'd be like, oh my God, I've got that call at eight
I
o'clock.
used to do that.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, I've got to try and keep myself switched on, or my energy high or
yeah.
whatever, to try and do that call at 8 o'clock. And I used to dread it, and not dread getting on the call with that person, just dread working at that time and trying
Like
to,
the energy of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
dread trying to kind of build up my energy, and secondly, like try and keep my brain switched on past the school run, because once I went into the school run, like I was in mum mode and house mode and
yeah.
wife mode and all of that. So then having to switch back to work mode at 8 o'clock at night was hard for me. So I obviously stopped. It was one of the first things I stopped straight away. I was like, no, I work. It literally was 9 while 3 every day. It's now actually 9 while 2 that I work. And then I might do another call at 4 o'clock or something that I might get on my laptop at 4 o'clock, something like that. But it's very, very few and far between. And
Yeah,
don't do weekends. Knew straight away I won't do weekends, because you're just not going to give your clients the best. So
it's
that's
so
another
true.
reason
And
not
it
to.
really did it, like, it affected me the same way as you. And then when I got on the call, even though the call was it was so amazing, it raised me right back up again. That come 9 o'clock, I go back downstairs on the couch and I couldn't switch off. I was
Yeah,
in business mode, which
yeah,
then affects your sleep, which then
yeah,
affects the morning after, and it just
yeah,
didn't work. And I'm a morning person now.
yeah,
And I've remembered what it was. So when you run about, it's like individual to everyone else. And this is a bit like I see business owners like I'm only going to work 2 days a month or 2 days a week or so. And someone said to me recently, "Well, let me know what your summer schedule is, for booking clients in." And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't planned it yet." So I went and planned it for this year, and I've decided to work 3 days over summer. So I'm only giving myself one extra day off. And I'm like, because that's what I want to do. Like working only 2 days a month is
Mhm.
just not me. I know
Mhm.
some people that take the full 6 weeks off with the kids. I couldn't think of anything worse
Nope, me
because
neither.
because I love my kids and we do go on days out. I plan loads of activities. It's me. I organise my summer before it even comes because I just have to.
Of course.
But but I think working 3 days for me it's not just the balance for me, it is for my kids as well, because I've done it. My first summer when I left my job, I got all giddy and excited. I planned things every single day with the kids because I was like in that abundance of it.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was too much for me. It was mentally draining and physically draining, even the kids. Like we've been out twice this week, and my son said to me last night at bedtime, Mum, yeah, we're off out tomorrow. No, mate, why? I'm working all day. Oh, thank God for that.
Yeah.
Because he needed that.
Yeah.
He's very much like me. He's a Virgo. I think he's probably the same human design. I see a lot of me in him. And he was like, I just need to chill today. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
totally feeling you.
I mean, I've
And I
got two
totally get it.
teenagers, so like my teenage, like trying to get them out of bed before,
Oh, yeah.
well, in the morning. I mean, my son come downstairs the other day. Obviously we're in the Easter holidays now, and so they haven't got college or school, and he come down and it was like 11:15, and I was like, Mason, you know it's morning still, don't you? Like, what are you doing up at this time? So he was like really, really early. Normally he's like the afternoon, like they're eating breakfast
Yeah,
at 2 o'clock, my kids, and that's
same.
fine. So, like if I planned to do something, for example, like if I plan to book myself a day out, like I still do, I work when I want, like my schedule is not the same every week, every month, it's
Mm,
like it will go again. There's no way I can plan more than 30 days in advance, to be fair. Like I still probably am like week by week.
yeah.
I was like when I have got no client, not one client has the same call with me every week or
Mm,
every, if they're one-to-one or anything like that. Like obviously my mastermind calls and my group coaching calls, them sort of things are obviously in place, but they're the only things, and they're like three a week
yeah.
at the same hours. And
I know, I
sometimes,
love that flexibility of it. Like I know I
yeah,
am like super organized, but I do that a little bit as well. Like I'm off to a networking event this month, but it fell on a day I'm free, but I had a client booked in. So I messaged her and said, are we okay to move it to the day before? And she has that flexibility. She was like,
yeah,
yeah, she didn't care. I
yeah,
was like, brilliant. So then not only have I booked onto that event, it was Jan. So I was like, are we off for lunch afterwards? So that
yeah,
I know I can just go do that. And I love that feeling. And I want more people to, as you do as well, to feel that and have that. And it starts
absolutely,
with the energetics, really, doesn't it? And create that
absolutely.
balance from that.
So with just one thing that I wanted to say as well, like just with business, there's lots of things that we have to not to have to do that are needed and necessary within business to move us forward and to get to be successful. And I'm very aware of that. So as much as I'll say I only want to do what I want to do when I want to do it, etc., I am very aware
Yeah.
that there is certain things within our businesses and in my business that I have to do, or that might push me out of my comfort zone a little bit, or that might test my patience a little bit, or but I know I need to get them done. So when those times come around, because I know that you guys will be thinking this that are listening, like, well, what about those things that I have to do? I don't really want to
Yeah.
do sales, but I've got to do it, or I don't really want to, do my accounts, but I've got to do it, or whatever. There's certain things that we have to do that we can't avoid, full stop. Those moments can be made better by one, taking the path of least resistance. So how can you make it easy for yourself?
Mhm.
Like that could look like you doing it at a certain time of day, a certain time of week, a certain time of month, when you know that you're at your highest energetics or energy, even when you know you've got your least disruption, when you can, when you're most switched on, whatever it is. But also you can prepare yourself energetically for these times by doing things like I mentioned earlier, like, taking energetic practices like meditation, EFT, going for a run, journaling, doing some exercise, eating your favorite food, having a conversation, having a dance party, and whatever it is that raises your vibe and raises your frequency. Do that before you have to do that thing that you don't really want to do.
Yeah.
We can manipulate, we can tailor our energy and tweak our energy, and I think an important thing. Like I scrapped the saying "it is what it is" a long time ago, because it is what it is. We can
Mm,
do something about it. We can control our mindset, we can control our energetics, we can control the strategies that we use, we can control the action that we take. We are in charge of our life. you just got to find a way to get behind the driving seat.
Yeah, it's true. And you're going to remember a certain point in our relationship together. But sometimes when people hear that, they resist and they bite back and
Mhm.
they go, yeah, but this. And sometimes we have, because I have had a lot of external things that affect me. I can't control that, but I can control the way I react
And
to
respond
it.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it makes a
absolutely.
difference.
I've been like this for a long time with that in particular, that situation in particular, with the fact that we can't necessarily, I mean, to be fair, I used to be a reactor. I'm an Aries for a start, so I'm extremely hot-headed,
Yeah.
and a bit of a rebel. So like I can, and I'm emotional. I am an emotional person, and I can react emotionally quite quickly. Still can from time to time, but I'm a very, very much aware now. But I used to be a worrier, a really big worrier, and I would panic and stress and be anxious about certain things and certain external factors and situations. But now I'm like, at the end of the day, right? And I give this advice to my clients. If you can control a situation, so if something happens that's external to ourselves, and you can do something to control that, you can do something to change that situation from happening, go and do that. Absolutely go and put yourself in problem solving mode, switch that part of your brain on, and go and find a solution for making that situation better for you and for the people around it. If you cannot do anything, if that is out of your control completely, it's an external factor, an external situation that is completely out of your control, the best energetic work that you can do for yourself in that instance is concentrate on you and concentrate on how you respond and react to that situation, because you can't do, there's no point in worrying, there's no point in stressing, there's no point in trying to change something that you can't, that is completely out of your control. And that will help your energetics and your mindset so much. If you get obsessive and trying to change the situation, and your energy is gonna dip massively, it's going to affect other, and that's where people will say, but this has happened so I can't, and I see
Yeah.
this a lot in
That
business.
used to be me all the time.
Yeah,
All the time.
I can't do it because of this, I can't work my
Yeah.
business because this has happened. I'm like, well, just
Even
change
like six
that.
months ago, like,
Mm,
well, I can't move my business forward because my child's getting sent home from school. That's not the reality. And I had to separate, and I've talked about this a lot. I had to put the Queen of Business Organisation hat on. I bought a physical headband with a crown on
love
to
that, love
step
that.
into becoming this part of me, because in that moment he didn't need me. I didn't need to be my mum. Like my husband can go get him to an extent if he's not having
Yeah,
one of his days where he can't get out of bed. So he can go deal with him. And I think people forget we have a choice, and we can change that. I feel like this has been like a masterclass
love
in
it.
energetics in itself. I really think it is probably like this is one of the most valuable podcasts like of my all of them. It's amazing. It's such a good
Ah,
conversation.
it's
If
just it's
anyone wants,
I could talk about it all day, to be fair, there's so much more.
I can tell.
Yeah, it,
And
it's
I love the
controls my whole life.
conversation. It's so interesting. If anyone wants to learn more, wants to come connect with you, find you, where can we find you?
Anywhere. Like type my name in. I think actually I'm quite high ranking in Google. If I'm honest, like I think I come up. There's not many of us, if I'm honest. So just
Yeah,
come and find me on. That's a really like unbusiness-like thing to say in it. You can come www.daniellehobson.co.uk is my website, but I'm always on Instagram. Instagram is my favorite. So come and find me, Danielle Hobson, on Instagram. But I've got a Facebook group, Intuitively Her Business Lounge, so you can come and find me on Facebook. In there if you want to. But yeah, I'm sure Dani will put all the links in the show
absolutely.
notes. But yeah, it's been great. Thanks for having me.
I've just got one final question I ask all my guests. I'm interested in your answer. What would be your biggest tip for being organized in your business?
Oh, okay. So actually, this is my go-to, my Google
Okay.
Calendar.
I had
So
a feeling yeah.
everything that I do. So obviously I'll write my things to do list. So I haven't basically getting everything out your head. Get every
Mm,
single thing that you've got to do, and that is not just business, it's business, life, mumming, whatever, work, everything that you've got to do that particular week goes on my piece of paper. And then I move that and I create appointments with myself in my diary. So in my calendar, in my Google Calendar, everything is there, and I set reminders because I'm also perimenopausal and I forget shit all the time. So everything has to be set a reminder on my Google Calendar, and it's all in there. Like a podcast interview would be in there, because obviously there's somebody
Yeah.
else remind to create my content, to do my accounts, to order the Asda shopping, to get the Asda shopping delivered. So I have like a half an hour where I can put the shopping away for when it comes. All of that goes in my diary. The school run, like I mean, I have forgot to pick my kids up once or twice over the years, but even the school run. If you get deep into stuff, you need that
Yeah, you do.
digital reminder. So that's my biggest tip, Google Calendar.
It is. I love that. I use it. And you know what? A few people say that, and it is amazing. I thought you might say that because it does make a difference.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I know the listeners and watchers are going to love it. So yes, definitely go check out Danielle Hobson on all the social channels.